My name is Christina Costa and I'm a Reiki teacher based in Brentwood in Essex. And I'm here today with Ben. He is a proud father of 2 children and great husband, and he works as a surveyor. So Ben, I was looking in my notes and I realised it's been almost 2 years since you did your Reiki training with you, and of course your wife did your Reiki training. So how's it gone? How have these 2 years changed for you?
Yeah, it's been very different. Things happened almost instantaneously, really. It was great. The course was great. One thing that sticks in my mind, particularly immediately after the course, is in my job, I go and see a lot of people. I go into their properties. I'm a surveyor. And after doing the Reiki 1 course, my first appointment, unbeknown to me, was actually at a Reiki master's house. And I've never been in somewhere like that before. And I thought that was very, very strange. And synchronicity at its best. So finished the weekend training course. First appointment, Monday morning, was in the house of a Reiki master. So that was very, very strange. But yeah, I haven't, since I've done the Reiki 2, I haven't managed to use it as I would have liked. I would have liked to have undertaken the Reiki skills on clients or a lot more people, but I haven't been able to do that with work commitments. But Reiki has been part of my daily life since, so it's great.
Fantastic. So I'm super curious then, what was the house of the Reiki master like that made it so special?
There was lots of books. There was a treatment room, and at first when I asked her, I said, what did you do? And I thought that she was going to be reflexology or undertaking massages or something. But then when she said, actually it's Reiki and I'm a Reiki master, and it was very, very strange. It was like, I can't believe this. I've only just finished my level 1 Reiki at the weekend, and I, as I said, I go into thousands and thousands of houses, and I've never been in a house like that. It was very strange, very, very surreal.
Wow. And it's true, you know, we do often talk about synchronicities and you know, is it a coincidence or is it synchronicity? And that of course is up to you to decide.
Yeah.
It is amazing how these things all come together. Wow. So I'm very interested then, because you go into a lot more houses than the average person. Can you feel kind of different energy levels in different houses?
Yeah, sometimes I do. You know, it's funny you should say that. Sometimes I go into people's properties and I do get a feel. I used to get a feel when I went into people's houses about whether it was a comfortable house or not a comfortable house. But I do get a different feel when I go in there now. And strangely enough, when I go in there and I get that feeling, the feeling that I get when I go into the house, it makes me look around for signs and signals that there is somebody in the house that does things along the lines of what we do. So I might be looking for crystals and things like that, just to get sort of like an idea of if there's a background to the feelings that I'm getting. So there is. It does feel like that sometimes when I go into properties.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm super curious when people have quite a specific job like that, because it does give you a different perspective.
Yeah.
And I think anyone even who hasn't done Reiki can definitely sense the energy in a room. Like if you've gone into a room and people are talking about you and then they stop and you walk in, even though there are no signs in front of you that anything's happened, you just have this sense or this feeling that something has gone on. And so just to kind of clarify, it's something that's already there in everybody, but I think when you learn Reiki, you do become more sensitive.
Yeah. I can vouch for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, how fascinating. And so you mentioned then that your main focus for Reiki is your personal life then.
Yeah, it is. Pets, family, immediate family, and myself. But it goes a little bit beyond that. For instance, if I'm taking one of the children out to perhaps a sports event that they're participating in, then I will use the power symbol before they go in, just to sort of like give them the best that they can, to give them an extra bit of power, or to protect them. So yeah, things like that, regularly creeping in daily.
Oh, which is so beautiful, isn't it? Because as a parent, you want the best for your children, and I think
Yeah.
the hardest thing is when they have to do things on their own, so to speak. And
Yeah,
so when you've learned Reiki, it's great because you can send Reiki generally to a situation. Reiki is much more than simply placing the hands and doing a complementary therapy, because you can, exactly as you said, you can use the symbols which you learn in Reiki level 2, and you can basically, it's like sending good vibes to a situation, isn't it? I think that's a nice way to explain it for someone who hasn't done Reiki.
yeah. I feel it as if Reiki at times can be your mate. Yeah, and you know he's there, and you can just tap into him when you need to. So it's a good friend to have. But that's sometimes how I look at it.
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely agree. And actually, your son, when I taught him Reiki, he came out with the best description ever, which was, oh, it's like a superpower.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he still, yeah, he still talks about it and funnily, when we talk to Zach, I do Reiki on Zach every night, and it's only since he did his Reiki course with you that he really feels it more. I don't know whether it's because he's been attuned now, so his awareness of it is stronger. But every evening before he goes to bed, he asks for Reiki, a bit of Reiki to be done. So yeah,
It's just so wonderful, and Zach is so keen and enthusiastic because, because of the environment he's grown up in, I imagine, because both you and your wife do Reiki, and
yeah,
and I remember that you did a lot of meditation as well, if that's
yeah,
continuing. Yeah. So I think that helps a child, because that's his normal. And
yeah,
and how wonderful, really, that he asked for Reiki, because it's so important that you don't Reiki someone who doesn't want it. You can
yeah.
just
I agree. Yeah.
just imagine, like, teenagers and their parents,
Daughter,
you will have Reiki, you will be a good child.
yeah, my daughter. I would love my daughter to say, "Oh, can I have some Reiki, Dad?" But that's just, as a teenager, that is just way off her radar at the moment. But hopefully, in the future, she might sort of get curious. Yeah, but you're right.
Exactly, and that's what's lovely about Reiki. She doesn't want a treatment, but just you all being in the house and all practicing Reiki in the house means that it's got that energy anyway.
Yeah,
So she will,
yeah, by
she
default.
will indirectly get quite a lot anyway, I think.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's
And
good.
so obviously you've got a family and you've got a job and a busy life. And so how do you manage to fit Reiki into your routine to practice regularly?
Yeah, I go when I walk the dogs in the morning. I use Reiki as I'm walking around. Sometimes I use Reiki on the dogs. So daily in the morning, on the walks, I use Reiki either on myself or just generally. Really, I might even just give Reiki off in the mornings, and then during the evening, as I said, normally I give Reiki to Zach. In the evening, sometimes I might give my Reiki to myself. Um, but also, if I've got meetings coming up during the day, particularly difficult meetings, most of it's done on Zoom or Teams at the moment. So before the meeting starts, I will connect to Reiki, and I will just fill my room with Reiki. I even fill the iPad or the laptop with Reiki before the meeting. But also, as well, if it's a presentation that I'm giving, then I might focus on giving myself Reiki around the throat chakra. Um, so yeah, and even when I was doing these meetings prior to lockdown and remote working, if I was in a meeting room, I would get there earlier and I would Reiki the room before the meeting as well. So yeah, there's a lot of it in the day.
And what kind of a difference do you feel that makes? Because obviously you take extra time and effort to do that regularly. So there must be a reason that you do that. Could you try and explain that?
Yeah, it's difficult. It does give me it sets it up nicely. It sets the tone of the meeting up nicely. It gives me some confidence in the meeting, and what I'm going to bring to the meeting. So yeah, it brings a lot of positivity into the room and into the meeting. It really does.
Yeah, oh, I absolutely agree. And I do the same thing. And I agree with you. It's difficult to kind of explain why. I know that I prefer to do it. And I think you're right, you know, it comes on lots of different levels. And it's interesting when you read about perhaps sports psychology, because
Yeah,
often with athletes, they're taught to kind of visualize, I don't know, winning, running through the finish line and imagining what they want to happen. And I
yeah,
think there is definitely a psychological element to this.
yeah,
In, you're hoping, you're visualizing what you want to happen, and the Reiki probably calms you down as well if you're feeling a bit
yeah,
nervous.
yeah,
um, and it kind of just clears a space.
yeah.
It can clear tension from a room and just make everything balanced and settled,
Yeah. I think
which
it's done that to me. I think that I'm less tense as a person. Um, and as you mentioned earlier on, even before Reiki, I used to meditate. But certainly since Reiki, um, I am much less stressed and less tense. Really, yeah. So it's not just the room; it's you as well. Yeah.
absolutely. Wow, fantastic. So, well, thank you so much for talking to me today. It's been just great to get different point of view on things and hear your story, really, because it's been so long since we did our training. So thank you
I'm
so much.
very welcome.
And
Thanks, Christina.